Hi everyone, and thank you for tuning in today for the second of our Exhibitor webinars, How to Rock Your Conference Using Social Media. Before we begin, I have just a few Pittcon announcements. First, we have a special offer for those of you who are attending today but who have not yet signed up for Pittcon booth space. Our discounted booth rate ended on Friday, but if you want to exhibit, we will offer you the discounted 10 by 10 booth discount, which was $2,600 per 10 by 10. So to take advantage of this, go into the Exhibitor dashboard and order your booth as normal, then click the invoice option when asked for payment. After this, please email Tammy at expo@pittcon.org with the subject line Webinar 912. She'll go in and adjust the pricing on your account, and you'll be all set for Pittcon 2018. Next, we have a new tool for exhibitors called the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. This is a free, on-demand, 24/7 exhibiting knowledge resource to give you answers to your most crucial exhibiting challenges, expand your exhibiting know-how, and improve your company's exhibiting performance and ROI. So features on this webpage include Ask an Expert tool, articles, webinar recordings, checklists, and more. So you can click that link on the bottom of the PowerPoint to visit, or you can go to the Exhibit at Pittcon tab on our homepage and click the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. So for the webinar today, feel free to use all the chat options if you have any problems, and you can put any of your questions at any time in the questions box, and we will have time for Q&A at the end with our presenter, Kendra. So with that said, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Kendra Ramirez. She helps her clients get the most out of their business development efforts, extend their marketing initiatives, and get real results from their digital efforts. Since 2005, she has helped hundreds of organizations leverage digital technologies and has spent more than 15 years at technology companies as a change agent in sales and recruiting leadership for B2B customers. So with that, I will turn the presentation over to you, Kendra.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Let's get this pulled up here. I am so excited. Thank you, Kim and Marianne, for having me today. Thank you, attendees, for taking time out of your crazy busy schedule to be with us today. This is going to be interactive, so pay close attention. I know sometimes when I'm on a webinar listening, I'm answering emails, I'm listening to the webinar in the background. So we've got some things where we wanted to make sure this is as interactive as possible. Use the chat function. I know for me, when I've got a question, I want to ask that question, right there. So go ahead. You're not going to disrupt us at all throughout the webinar if you want to go ahead and put your questions in there as we move through the material. And then at the end, we will address each of those questions. This is for you guys. I've been doing this for 12 years. And want to make sure I'm getting the most out of these sessions, and so I get super passionate about it. So let's just dive into how we're going to rock your conference using social media. I would love to understand where you guys are on your social savviness. A level 1 being a beginner, level 2 being intermediate. Hey, I've been using the tools a couple of years. Level 3 advanced. Kendra, we're already landing business because of this. We're on this webinar, for validation. So you can use the chat function and put a level 1, 2, or 3 in that chat function. Just gives us an opportunity to know the variety of social savviness that we have on the call today. So feel free to use that chat function. All right, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. That just is really helpful to us, so let us know where you are, and we don't want to talk over anyone's heads. So thank you for playing along. So we're really going to be talking about liking and sharing and following and tweeting and comments, and how do we leverage, Pittcon itself, but everything we're going to talk about today, all the techniques can be applied to any conference, anywhere that you're exhibiting, any events that you're a part of. We're just using the best practices from, Pittcon. So making sure I'm following us on social media, leveraging the hashtag Pittcon. So what is your strategy? When we're talking about rocking your conference using social, we really want to anchor off of what's the strategy? What exactly are we hoping to accomplish by signing up at this event, exhibiting at this event? What are all the things that we want to accomplish by doing that? Defining the goal for the event. What's our expectation? Is there a certain amount of visitors we'd like to attract to the booth? From those visitors, what do we want them to do? What are the call to action? Are we wanting them to do a demo? Are we wanting them to sign up for a follow-up call? Do we want them to sign up for our e-newsletter? Really specifically about what we want that flow to be like. How many demonstrations, if you do a demonstration at your exhibit? Or how many convert from the demos or the activities that you're asking to those appointments? And then of the appointments, how many are converting to proposals or RFPs or things? And just layering that in on what's the strategy of what we want to accomplish in that path. And then all the way down to, once we had those proposals, how many did we close? For being able to look at that return on investment of the conference that you're participating in and looking at that customer journey and making sure we're measuring the steps along the way. And also making sure that in our CRM that we're labeling which conference, the names that we received from that conference, where we got those names, so we can go back to each conference or places we've exhibited and making sure that we're tracking the success of those conferences as well. I guess from my days of, I've been doing digital strategy for over 12 years now, but I actually grew up in business development, and so the days of that still linger around, of making sure that we step by step are able to track that thoroughly through to show that return on investment. So here are some things that you guys can do before the event. Again, before Pittcon, before any other conferences or other places you're exhibiting. These are some just best practices that we can lay out. Is making sure all your social media profiles are up to date and consistent. We want to make sure that we're receiving the same message, the same branding when we go to your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, you name it, whatever tool that you're participating in, that are up to date. We've got the brand consistency from an imagery standpoint, language that we're using. So we want to make sure those are nice and tidy before marketing that you're going to be participating in those conferences and or events. Making sure your profile on pittcon.org is updated and links to your website and social, your profile is filled out, because this is just a great way prior to conferences where other people, other vendors and or attendees are looking through and identifying, gosh, I really want to make sure I make it to, booth number, 2000. I noticed there on their profile, it's something that I'm really, interested in seeing more of. So we always want to make sure that information is set. We also want to update any photos, so you can have a header photo in Facebook, you can have a header photo in Twitter, on LinkedIn, and you can include, see you at Pittcon or see you at whatever conference is coming up, and making sure and rotating out, those images. Below, at the top there, we've got the Facebook imagery, and then below we have the Instagram information where we've got, what event and where it will be. And so you can rotate those things out just for yourself as well. So we want to make sure you take advantage of that. 77% of event markers use a social media engagement before an event. And this is from Kissmetrics. And so a great success being able to leverage that. So search.twitter.com is another tool that I'd really encourage you guys to use. I love using this, and it gives you the advanced search features that you can search by words, exact words, any of the words. You can remove certain words. You can look up hashtags. You can look up people and places using the advanced search. So look through using the hashtag for any conference that you're attending and or the hashtag for Pittcon. So it's just hashtag Pittcon. You can go through and see, are others mentioning that they're attending? Are others, highlighting that? Being able to look through any of those attendees and finding them and engaging with them prior to the conference as well as during the conference. But using this search to social and see, is there anyone out there mentioning that they're attending and going ahead and engaging with them? That's always a fun thing to do, the advanced search. There's another tool called Follower Wonk. That's Follower Wonk, FOLLOWER and that allows you to search people's bios. So if there's interesting people that you want to look through from a Twitter perspective and search their bios, that's a fun tool to use. There's a free version and an upgraded version, but it's a tool I found very easy to use to be able to search through people's bios to identify some of those people that we're looking to connect with. Also, looking through, competitors, their Twitter accounts, you can go through and look at who they're following. Sometimes that's something that's an easy way to go look at, okay, well, if they're following them, maybe it's someone that we would be interested in following as well. So I'm curious, you guys, in your usage of Twitter. And so, Kim, if you'll pull up that poll on Twitter, I'd love to see your usage of Twitter. Are you using it? Yes, no, or thinking about using it? All right, so do we have the poll open? Good, polling's in progress. All right. And Kim, can you see the results?
Yep, it looks like 90% of companies hope to use Twitter and 10% do not. We have 0 unsures.
Okay, all right, wonderful. Hey, I wish I could give you guys all the, virtual high fives there. So I'm so excited to hear that you are taking advantage, of being able to do that. So that's excellent. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And so that's fantastic because Twitter is a really wonderful way to participate from an event standpoint. So I'm really glad to hear that. And Twitter is indexed by Google, so that's always a plus for all of us. All right, other ways before Pittcon to get yourselves ready is add the conference to your email signature. How many of us email, hundreds of people in any given day? And it's a nice soft reminder. So I've got just a couple examples here, one from Inbound and one from Pittcon. And so adding that conference to your email signature, and you're out there and you're sharing on a regular basis, reminding people of either upcoming events and that preparation. So I know that's a very small thing, but it's a small thing that a lot of people don't realize. On average, you're sending, a couple of hundred emails on any given day. So think about how many people you can be out in front of and reminding them about. And that could be current clients, potential clients, partners, vendors. So I encourage you guys to think about adding that to your email signature as well. It's really, really easy to do. The other things to think about before is, do you have someone presenting at Pittcon, making sure that you're including that content and announcing, that you've been identified as a speaker for an upcoming conference. Again, it could be Pittcon, it could be any other, conference that you're doing. So making that announcement, beforehand of who's speaking, what topics they're presenting on, are they doing a breakout session, any kind of quotes that may be coming from that in preparation for that. So that's always good to announce. Always thinking about what will draw people into your booth. Is there contests or fun things that you can do to draw people into the booth? I love that Pittcon offers the opportunity to do and set up the press room. So you could set up a press conference if you're rolling out a new offering, a new product, a new demonstration, being able to do that and taking advantage of that. So setting up that press conference, and you can work with the Pittcon team on, setting that up. I think it's a fantastic offering that they allow. Not all conferences do that, but it is something just to be mindful of with any conference. Scheduling out content to drip during the conference, because everyone's running lean. We're doing a lot at these conferences, and sometimes you're managing a booth, but you're also in charge of making sure content's going out. And some of you may be saying, that's fantastic, but Kendra, what tools would I use to schedule out that content during the conference? I'm glad you asked. We always recommend Hootsuite, Hoot like an owl, Suite like an office. for monitoring and scheduling. There's fantastic tools out there, Hootsuite, CoSchedule, Buffer, any of those tools are fantastic. So at the end of the day, just making sure you're leveraging some of those tools, that would be very helpful. Being able to use Hootsuite to schedule out content, beforehand, so you're not having to worry about. And you can schedule out, information about the, reminding people what booth you're at, reminding people about contests, reminding people about your press conference, reminding people about who's speaking, what their topic is, when they're speaking. This is all things that we can put inside of, these tools. And what I love about Hootsuite and tools like this of Buffer and CoSchedule is the dashboard effect. So each column I can identify, and I can name one column just the hashtag for the conference, in making sure that we're catching anything that's happening, because we may want to engage with others and retweet others that are also sharing content, from that hashtag. So, the hashtag of the conference, our own tools, and even speakers, because sometimes people, even they're at a conference and they're sharing information, maybe they didn't realize that the speaker had a Twitter account and they actually just said the speaker's name. So you can have a column just to the speaker's name. So if they're out there sharing information, you're catching it, because maybe they didn't tag the appropriate either company and or speaker's Twitter account, because not every speaker has a Twitter account. So I always like setting up those columns to catch those if they do, use that information. So you can use these tools for monitoring and scheduling, and it's a great time saver. It can still keep active while you're also, helping man the booth, helping, pull things together and keeping the flow of the conference. So it's a fantastic way to schedule and monitor. You also, want to retweet others, so it's not, you're looking at your Twitter account and it's not just you, right, patting your own self on your back, but also retweeting and engaging, with others. And so finding, partner content or attendee content that you can, when they mention that they attended the breakout session or heard someone from your organization speak, you definitely want to engage them and thank them, for sharing or enjoying that topic. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of leveraging Twitter and those Hootsuite tools. Sending out an e-newsletter. Believe it or not, e-newsletters are still extremely effective. 84% of event marketers say email is still an effective channel, and that comes from marketingcharts.com. So sending out e-newsletter that you will be at Pittcon, letting your current clients, prospective clients know that you're going to be there, and sharing, other things that you normally share, from your monthly e-newsletter. But just as a reminder, letting them know that you're coming there. This is, when your booth, and this is who's going to be speaking or presenting or anything exciting that you want to be able to share with them. Love being able to leverage that, and of course, leveraging it after the fact as well. So, the month, prior to the event and even after the event, being able to do a follow-up e-newsletter, from that as well is very, very successful. So we talked about Twitter, we talked about e-newsletters. LinkedIn is also a fantastic tool to use prior to the conference. So going and identifying attendees, going to identify people that you want to meet with, finding those mutual connections on LinkedIn. This is their search filter. I absolutely love it. If you just go to the search bar at the top of LinkedIn and you click on the magnifying glass, when you click on the magnifying glass, this is when you get the filter, and you can filter by connection level, keywords, title, company, location from LinkedIn, and be able to cross-check, individuals that you want to reach out to, prior to the event, and letting them know, that you're going to be there and you'd love to see them. It's good to even pre-schedule, meetings. You don't have to wait until the conference for that to happen. So, huge fan of leveraging LinkedIn. You can share in LinkedIn as well. So if you have a LinkedIn company page, you can share that, hey, we're, attending, this conference, and pre-share of that event. You can write a blog post about it in the Write an Article section of LinkedIn. So it could be, from one of your executives or one of your speakers. They can write the, article as, a little mini, blog post. That gets lots of attention in LinkedIn. LinkedIn also has native video now, so you could do a quick little video snippet of excited, looking forward to seeing you. So don't be afraid to do any video as well. So I'd like to ask, you're leveraging LinkedIn, and Kim's going to share a poll on LinkedIn.
It looks like everyone's answered. And we have 64% say yes, they are leveraging LinkedIn, 18% no, and 18% planning to.
Oh, fantastic. Great job. I love to hear that. So that's good. Yeah, I feel like, especially from a conference standpoint, I feel like LinkedIn, is a wonderful opportunity, and that a lot of people just forget about it because they are so focused on, say, Facebook or Instagram or other tools, and LinkedIn is a fantastic tool to leverage in that. So glad to hear such a high number of you guys are using it and planning to use it. So great job. Thank you guys for playing along. We appreciate it. All right, so those are some fantastic, ways. We've got Twitter, we've got Hootsuite, we've got LinkedIn. Write a blog post about attending. Here's what we're going to be sharing. I'm a big fan of writing blog posts. Again, it's content you own. So it's media that you own. It helps drive people back to the website. So writing a blog post about attending that and sharing that blog post to help drive people back to your site. Making sure all your social channels are integrated with any of your marketing materials. I was just on a call earlier today. We were going through and doing a review, and they didn't even have their, very active on Instagram, and they didn't have it on their website. They didn't have it on their marketing brochure that they were going to be handing out at an upcoming conference. And it was just one of those things that they just, sometimes you're so close to it, you can't see it. And that was one thing, so we were able to catch it before going live with all the material. So making sure your social channels that you want to be active on. And I've had the flip side. A couple of days ago, I was on a call, and on the flip side of they had all their channels on their website and their marketing materials and different things, but they really only become super active in about 3 of the 6 that they had on there. And so I actually recommended, let's just narrow that down. If we're not really maintaining, those other channels, then let's just, take them off, the web and the marketing material, and just get people focused in on the areas that we want to focus in on. So make sure and take advantage of that as well. All right, excellent. So we talked a lot about, leading up to, what are we going to do? All right, so now let's talk about what are we going to share during Pittcon. And have fun with this. People love the human nature of these conferences. So even posting photos of, folks setting up the booth, putting that together and having fun with it. Photos of, all right, the booth is now complete. What does it look like? And having some people, standing in that. Photos of people stopping by your booth. Friends of mine in this example at Troxel, what they did is they even had a little frame and had a chalkboard that people were able to write different things, and it was most likely to. And this individual said, talk about his glory days, and so they had fun with the booth. Being responsive to content about your company and or presenter. Like I said earlier, you can use monitoring tools to catch when people are talking about your organization and or anyone speaking or presenting. Going live at Pittcon. Again, I know that makes people nervous, but you could do a virtual walkthrough and just, very quickly. It doesn't have to be long, but you can take them on a journey with you. You could do a go live while you're putting the booth together. You could do go live when talking with, folks in the booth, or a virtual walk tour. And when I say go live, I mean Facebook Live, tools like that. And it's a fantastic tool. It gets lots of love from the Facebook algorithm, standpoint, and it's very, very popular. So encourage you guys to think about that. So favorite and or retweet, others at the conference. There's a high usage of you guys leveraging Twitter, so you know exactly what I'm talking about, when we're sharing that. So during that, want to be able to get involved and show that you are looking for a two-way conversation inside of these tools versus one way. Actively tweeting takeaways from the conference. So if you hear, different speakers or breakout sessions or things that, it doesn't always have to be just from your own content, actively sharing little sound bites is always a good way to be active during those sessions as well. Sharing slides. So if you do have someone presenting or speaking, making sure you also share the slides, and even the speaker themselves to say, hey guys, my slides are going to be live, on our site, in the next 24 hours. Or if you pre-scheduled content, you can actually link those slides. So you can put the slides on your blog, in your website. You can also put those slides in SlideShare, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So these are all some fantastic ways of, ideas of what to share during the conference. And so I have one last, poll I'd like to just ask. How many of you guys are considering going live? So Kim, if you'll put that poll up for us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Still getting a few responses.
How many brave people are out there?
All right. It looks like 8% said yes, 16% said no, and 76% say not sure.
Ah, they're on the fence. It makes you nervous. I get it. But I'm so proud of the 8% that says, heck yeah, we're going to go for it. So maybe the others on the call will be encouraged by that and say, you know what, if they're going to be brave, maybe we can be brave. And everyone gets a little nervous about, the going live. But I said, it could be very quick. You could go live while someone, one of your, team members is presenting or speaking. You could do a virtual walk tour. So there's different things you can do without it feeling like you would be in a vulnerable state of sharing things that, may or may not, work, from an organization standpoint. And the beauty of going live, especially on Facebook, is now that content can be repurposed. We can download it. We can put it on our YouTube channel. We can put it in a blog post. And so that's why I love being able to leverage that. So wonderful. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you participating. So what to share after Pittcon? So again, thanking everyone for attending, including fun pictures from the event. You can put those pictures in your e-newsletter, following up on conversations, your attendee list, from the lead retrieval tool that you guys have, any cards gathered at the event. Time kills all deals, so however quickly you can make sure and follow up from those conversations is really critical. Connecting with others via social that you met, finding them, either following them or connecting with them as individuals on LinkedIn. Watching the hashtag for a few days even after the event. I also like using a tool called TweetDeck. So you can use any of these tools. You don't have to use all of them. Don't overwhelm yourself. So you can use tools to just watch that hashtag even after the event. If you had interviews or press conferences or speakers or any videos from the event, sharing that. Booth testimonials or testimonials from the conference. You can do some nice little visuals with those testimonials, and I've got some tools I'm going to recommend for that as well. And even a few weeks later, you could just do a hashtag, Throwback Thursday, and use the event again. So it doesn't have to be, oh, we have the event, now we're done, now what, right? We can also come back to that information as well. Recap blogs, people love either a video or a recap blog, so you attended the event and here were your 5 main takeaways, from the event, and here are the, concepts there. People love, doing that, and then you would be able to share your blog out, use the hashtag again, and reminding people, because they're also watching the hashtag for a while after the event. And, again, this is really great to drive traffic back to the website. And being able to leverage that. So we love, big fans of the recap of takeaways. Again, it doesn't always have to be your information. You can tie in your information as well as others, maybe partners or or friendly companies that you can complement each other. After Pittcon, again, like I said earlier, like SlideShare. SlideShare is owned by LinkedIn. They were a separate company, and LinkedIn purchased them. And this is what example would look like. And so I would put the slides on your website, either in a blog, and also put them over in SlideShare if you have a company channel. That's a fantastic way. Any presentations you have, make sure and use it there. With 80 million users, it's a great tool to use. And it gives you, from your admin view, you get how many people have viewed that presentation. Don't forget your visuals. I said earlier, like if you have booth testimonials or things that people shared, from speaking with you, these are some fantastic tools. So there's Canva, Ripple, and WordSwag, and there's many out there, but these are some fun ways to create visuals. They're super easy to do. Canva, as you can see in the screenshot, you figure out what you want from that background image, and then you're able to layer text over the top of it or layer some other images inside of it, add your logo to it. Ripple I like because it causes movement, meaning I can upload an image and have the words kind of fly in or an image fly in, so it stops the eye when people are scanning through Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter and draws attention. And WordSwag also has that imagery with being able to layer the words over top of it. These are super easy and free tools to use for those visuals. And if you're looking for images, outside, you maybe got some images from the event, but there's also other images that you just want to supplement. I use like Pixabay, Pixels, LibreStock, some of those, free tools that are out there as well. So don't forget your visuals. Those are always fun ways to pull it in. And even if you're in Twitter, since there's a lot of heavy usage on Twitter here, people love the little GIF files. So if someone says something nice about maybe a presenter, they enjoyed something, you could, thank them and then attach, the little thank you GIF file. Again, it stops the eye and creates movement. So don't forget your visuals. All right, we covered a ton of things of how to rock your conference using social media. At the end of the day, have fun and be human. I sometimes feel like people overthink conferences and they forget the human elements to it. Don't forget to leverage your conference hashtag. Again, that could be any conference you're attending and or exhibiting. This particular one is hashtag Pittcon. Don't forget your own social channels, making sure to clean up, get your brand consistency. Do you have that you've shared all these events that you're participating in on your channels, your website, your blog, and e-newsletter? Following up with people you met at the events or people that showed interest as soon as possible. Adding visuals to all your content, making sure that there's visuals associated with everything you do. And little pro tip, it doesn't have to do with social media, but just make sure you're sitting out in front of your booth. I can't tell you how many times I've been to events and people are heading back behind tables or things like that. You want to be as welcoming as possible. And just, absolutely enjoy yourself during any conference that you're attending. All right, so let's open it up to questions. What questions do you guys have for us?
All right, so we have a few. First, is it worth it to buy a premium LinkedIn account?
Oh, yes. I get this question so often. It's one of those things where I always tell folks is try the 14-day free trial, but be super intentional during that time and see if you're able to get more out of the tool. The premium does allow you to do more email messaging. It does allow you to do more of what's called commercial search that's not available from the basic. So I always encourage just that free 14-day trial, take advantage of it, and be very intentional during that time and see if it's a good fit for you. I've had, if you line 10 people up, I think half the room would say, you know what, I'm able to get what I need out of the basic, and half the room would say, you know what, I can't live without the LinkedIn Premium. So I encourage you minimally just, check out that 14-day free trial.
All right, great. And Mark is asking, do you have suggestions about free photo websites besides Pixabay?
Yeah, so the other one I mentioned was Pixels, and it's P-E-X-E-L-S, Pixels, and LibreStock, L-I-B-R-E Stock, Libre Stock. And Libre Stock is actually a free photo search engine, meaning it goes out to the Pixabays and the Pixels and all the other tools and looks for free versions of images that you're not having to pay a Common Creative license, a Creative Commons license.
All right. Another question here. Can you edit Facebook Live videos after you go live?
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic question. You absolutely can. So a lot of people will do that. They'll, download the video and then run it through editing. Make sure when you do that, make sure that you always go back to any videos and put the caption on. A lot of people, I think the most recent, I want to say it was like 80% of people would rather see, captions on videos, because a lot of times in videos, maybe we're in a place where we can't play with sound, but we still want to see the video and we'll read the caption. So making sure that you add caption to the video. Yeah, great question.
All right, next question here. We've tried doing different social media contests during the show, but they don't work out as effective as we expect. Any advice?
Yes, it is, and it's so tough depending on different shows, right? Depending on different shows and understanding the human behavior of the individuals, that are there, right? A younger, crowd is going to be a little bit more socially active and more willing to play and having, my friends, holding the empty frame and, having fun. So it's about having just diversity of different things and different ways to engage and making sure to not only have contests that are just social, making sure to have other types of, so having diversity in your contest.
Great, thank you. Next question
absolutely.
here. What are some good ways to get quality traffic to booths? They do some giveaways here and there, but they seem to just get the people who are there to grab the free stuff.
Oh, yes. We always run into those free people, don't we? It's one of those things where, like I said, standing out in front of the booth and they're not, just, walking by. It's going in and being really intentional about your attendee list. You guys are able to purchase those, attendee lists as well. And anyone announcing prior to the event, starting to build that relationship early with them because it softens, the relationship. So statistically, people need to hear and see you 7 to 9 times before moving. And so when they've seen you prior to the conference, you've engaged with them prior to the conference, the more likely they are going to be drawn to the booth and drawn to actually coming and meeting you. Because the more you can be human to human versus a logo to a human, the better.
Great. And then I think this might be the last one, so if anyone else has questions, go ahead and put them in. How many times should you tweet or post per day at a conference?
Fantastic question. So what's really interesting, so each platform has its different, what we call content digestion, meaning what are people willing to have from a content digestion standpoint. And so Twitter, you're able to tweet up to 7 times a day without annoying someone because the information flows so quickly. The life of a tweet is 17 minutes. So that's why it doesn't really matter, like especially when you're in conference mode, people are knowing that you're at a conference that you're going to be sharing a lot more information than you normally would, and that's okay. So each platform has its different, content digestion of what people are willing to see from that. So just know that when you're in conference mode, it's absolutely okay to be tweeting and being more active during that conference, period than normal.
Well, thank you so much, Kendra. I think that is the last question that we have. So thank you, everyone, for attending. And just a reminder for anyone who's not quite signed up for a booth space yet. Oh, I think we got one more question here. Oh, no, just kidding. Sorry. So if you haven't quite signed up for your booth space yet, take a look at our special offer up on the screen. And as always, you can send us an email if you have any questions. So thank you again, everyone, for attending, and hopefully we'll see you at Pittcon 2018.